In 1981, biologist Roy Mackal and missionary James Powell led an expedition to the Lukula swamps of the Republic of the Congo. Their destination? Lake Tili, one of the most remote, unexplored places on Earth. They had heard stories, ancient ones, about something massive, something alive, but no one expected what came next. When they arrived in the village, they opened up a zoological field guide and asked the elders to identify animals they knew. Gorillas, crocodiles, hippos. The villagers nodded. But when they were shown rhinoceroses, they shook their head. We don't know that one. Then Mackal turned the page to a sauropod dinosaur. Long neck, thick body, whip-like tail. The kind of creature we're told died 65 million years ago. The villagers pointed without hesitation. That one, that animal lives here, they told the explorers. Now the explorers came in search of folklore, but what they found was consistency. Villages hundreds of miles apart, different dialects, same description, same fear. They didn't speak of it as if it was a myth or a memory. They spoke of it like you might talk about crocodiles or rain. It lives here, they said. It always has. To the outside world, it's called Mokele-mbembe, but to the Baka, the Lingala, and other tribes of the Congo Basin, it's simply known as the one who stops the flow of rivers. They say it lives in the swamps and forests, that it avoids loud places, that when it surfaces, the water itself seems to shrink back in fear. Descriptions are shockingly consistent. A massive body, like that of an elephant, sometimes even larger, 4 pillar-like legs, a long neck with a small head, no horns, no tusks. It's not a crocodile, it's not a hippo. It's something that they've never seen before, except for that image in the explorer's book. Anthropologists noted that when shown photos of mythical creatures, dragons, unicorns, and made-up beasts, the villagers actually laughed. But when they saw the sauropod, silence. Then a finger pointed to the page. That's Mokele. We do not fish in that part of the river. It's his, one villager explained. Some say it overturns canoes. Others say it devours whole sections of forest before disappearing into the mist. But what's most chilling isn't what they say. To me, it's how casually they say it. To them, Mokele-mbembe isn't a legend. It's a neighbor, one you don't disturb. In the villages near Lake Tili and the Lukula swamp, Mokele-mbembe isn't just described, it's avoided. Researchers like Roy Mackal and James Powell didn't just ask villagers what the creature looked like. They asked why certain rivers and lakes were off limits. The answer, more often than not, was simple. That's where Mokele lives. In one account recorded by James Powell, a fisherman's canoe was capsized by something large moving just beneath the surface. The man survived, but never returned to that stretch of the river again. He didn't need to see the creature to know what it was. Others spoke about livestock, goats, and chickens going missing near the water's edge. A few said they saw the creature surface near the village once, and people didn't wait around to get a better look. They ran. Now, it wasn't seen every day, and sometimes not even every year, but when asked how often it appeared, some villagers shrugged, often enough to know where not to go. What stands out is how matter-of-fact these responses were. There was no storytelling flourish, no attempt to impress, just practical, consistent answers about something they considered real and potentially dangerous. One young man told Powell he had never seen the creature himself, but said his grandfather had. The family still refused to fish in the southern bend of the river because of it. We don't need to see it, we know it's there, and we stay away. When asked why no one had tried to kill it or capture it, another elder answered quietly, because only fools try to chase it. The wise don't need proof of what they already know. In these communities, the danger is not in believing, it's in forgetting. The creature locals describe has one unmistakable feature, a very long neck, rising straight up out of the water, 4 thick legs, a bulky body, and a small head. No horns, no frill, a tail that drags through the mud when it walks. According to paleontologists, only one type of animal ever fits that description: sauropods. Some grew over 80 foot long, but not all were that massive. A few species, like the Rabbitosaurus discovered in Madagascar, were smaller and may have lived in swampy or river-like environments. They were herbivores, slow-moving, thought to travel in herds. But one trait links them to the Mokele-mbembe stories: their reliance on water. Now, paleontologists once believed sauropods needed water to support their enormous weight. That idea has since shifted, but the image of these animals, partially submerged in lakes and rivers, stuck in the public imagination. And in the Congo, that's exactly where the villagers say the creature lives. Now, there's no fossil record of living dinosaurs in the Congo Basin. No bones, no nests. Nothing beyond what was buried millions of years ago. But there's still the Baka and the Lingala. They don't study paleontology. They don't have dinosaur museums. They don't have the internet. They don't have Google. Yet when asked to describe what they're seeing, they consistently point to one image. Not a crocodile, not a hippo, but a sauropod. And the question scientists still ask is this: how do they know what that would look like? Some skeptics point to the lack of fossils in the region as proof that the Mokele-mbembe can't exist, but paleontologists will tell you, dense, wet environments like the Congo Basin are some of the worst places on Earth for fossil preservation. The constant rainfall, acidic soil, dense plant growth, it all works against the long-term survival of bones. In a place like this, even the remains of a modern elephant might vanish in just a few years. And that's part of what makes the Congo so difficult to understand. It's not just the climate, it's the scale of everything. Vast tracts of jungle with no roads, swamps too thick for boats, rivers that vanish into mist, entire ecosystems that remain uncharted. It's not that no one has found the Mokele-mbembe, it's almost as if no one has even gotten to try yet. For centuries, the Congo was a blank spot on the map. Terra incognita, a place explorers dreamed about, but few dared enter. In the 20th century, that started to change. Scientists, missionaries, cryptozoologists, people from around the world set out in search of the creature locals call Mokele-mbembe. One of the most determined was Dr. Roy Mackal, a biologist from the University of Chicago. In 1980 and again in 1981, Mackal led expeditions deep into the swamps of the Republic of the Congo. Alongside him was a missionary, James Powell, who had already heard stories from villagers during his work in Africa. Their goal wasn't fame, it was documentation. They recorded witness interviews, tracked reports, collected maps, drawings, and verbal descriptions. Everything pointed to a single location, Lake Tili. But getting there was no easy task. There were no roads, no reliable infrastructure. Diseases like malaria and dysentery were constant threats. At one point, Mackal's team resorted to eating caterpillars and moldy bread just to keep moving forward. They never captured the creature, never filmed it, but they did gather something else: consistency. Multiple villages separated by geography, language, and culture all described the same animal, and all warned of the same thing: don't go into the parts of the swamp where they exist. Later expeditions tried to go further. In the 1990s, explorer Bill Gibbons launched several missions into the same region, collecting stories and attempting night watches along the river. He too returned without proof. But the same descriptions kept surfacing: no bones, no photographs, no tracks that passed scientific scrutiny. But the pattern was always there. And in the world of exploration, sometimes the deeper you go, the more elusive the truth becomes. Now, I'm an explorer myself. I've got a television show on the History Channel. I travel all over the world with my best friends. Let's say I wanted to go see Mokele-mbembe for myself. The trip wouldn't start in the jungle. It would start here in Michigan. From Detroit, I'd fly to Europe. Then I'd have to connect to a major hub in Central Africa, likely the capital of the Republic of Congo. But from there, I need to charter a rugged truck for hundreds of miles across rough, barely marked roads deep into the heart of the jungle. Eventually, the roads would disappear, and from that point forward, it's on foot, through thick, Humid forests where every step can sink you into mud. You carry everything: food, fuel, water filters, medicine, batteries. One bad decision and you're stranded, possibly dead. Then come the rivers. Dugout canoes are the only way to navigate the waterways leading toward Lake Tile. The jungle closes in. The humidity, 90%. The air feels heavier than water and your clothes are never dry. Your equipment consistently fails and there are no resupply points, no hospitals, no second chances. Even modern expeditions rely on local guides to avoid dangerous areas, both natural and political. And every step of the way, you have to fight to survive long enough to even reach the places where Mokele-mbembe is said to live. So it's not just a matter of going, it's a matter of coming back. And maybe that's why the story hasn't been put to rest, because the truth might still be out there. Mokele-mbembe isn't the only creature that seems to defy extinction. All over the world, we have stories that have emerged, many with strange similarities. In Scotland, the Loch Ness Monster has been reported since the 6th century. Descriptions often match that of a plesiosaur, a long-necked aquatic reptile believed to have died out with the dinosaurs. In Canada, legends speak of massive lizard-like beasts roaming the cold northern rivers. In the 1900s, trappers in the Yukon told stories of dinosaur-like creatures following caribou herds. Then there's Kasai Rex, another Congo legend. This one describes a bipedal, carnivorous dinosaur said to resemble a tyrannosaur. Less documented than Mokele-mbembe, but just as feared. Even in the United States, we have stories like the Thunderbird sightings of the American Southwest, or reports from early settlers describing creatures with leathery wings and elongated beaks. Different names, different landscapes, but the core details, the long necks, the reptilian bodies, the behavior, all echo something ancient, something primal, something we're not supposed to see. Maybe that's where all the misidentifications are coming from. Maybe they are recultural memories. Or maybe we just haven't been looking hard enough. After hearing all the stories, after digging through the science, the eyewitness accounts, and the expeditions, I have a few thoughts. First, I do think some of these stories have been passed down for generations, and like any oral tradition, they kind of evolve. They get embellished. A ripple becomes a wave, a shadow becomes a monster. That's just human nature. Second, some of the reports raised some red flags with me. People talked about the creature eating livestock, but based on the science, the dinosaur it most closely resembles is a herbivore, a plant eater. That doesn't mean it couldn't be territorial, but it does make you question some of the more dramatic claims. And another thing, we gotta be honest, there are plenty of predators in the Congo that would take livestock. You've got crocodiles, leopards, massive snakes, jungle cats we still don't even fully understand. In a place like this, there are more than a few things that can make an animal vanish. And those same predators are one more reason expeditions into the region are so dangerous. But there's one thing that sticks with me more than anything else. These people have nothing to gain by lying. They aren't writing books, they aren't posting videos, they don't even have a Facebook. Heck, most of them don't even have access to electricity. Their stories are quiet, consistent, and deeply tied to their daily lives. And what's more, there are people separated by language, separated by distance, separated by culture that don't communicate with each other at all. Yet they all describe the exact same animal as if it's a fact living there with them, with the same shape, the same behavior, the same fear. How do they know what a sauropod looks like? How do they describe it again and again without ever seeing a dinosaur museum, without ever going on Google, without even having a children's book? Maybe they didn't forget because they never stopped seeing it. And maybe, just maybe, not everything that was supposed to die off 65 million years ago actually did.